Good morning, everybody. This is Todd with the Forex Nitty Gritty Insiders daily video. Today, we're going to take a few minutes and just look at some potential entry points using the simple trading method and get an idea of where we might be looking for entry points and kind of how we set that up. But first, today, we had the CPI numbers come out in the U.S. Came out right as forecasted, so not much movement there. We do have, in about 10 minutes coming out here, the overnight interest rate statements for Canada, and also the tick data for the long-term purchases in the U.S. In addition, Chairman Bernanke is going to be testifying again, which can always cause a ruckus in the market, so to speak. But the tick data, I wanted just to spend just a second talking about that. And really what this is looking for is the difference in the value between the foreign long-term purchases of securities by U.S. citizens and U.S. long-term securities purchased by foreigners. So the difference between foreigners buying U.S. securities and U.S. buying foreign currencies. And typically, as that number becomes stronger, we see a stronger U.S. dollar, and so that's a number that you can spend some time looking at and getting a little bit more comfortable identifying. Not a huge mover, but something that kind of gives us an insight into what direction things may be happening for the U.S. dollar. If the number is greater than the forecast, and that's usually a good sign for the U.S. dollar, at least a strengthening sign for the U.S. dollar. All right, let's talk a little bit here about this chart that I've got out. This is the Aussie dollar, and once again, we kind of go over this a lot, but as we look for a simple trading method, the first thing that we want to identify is where the trend is headed. If the trend is headed up, we want to be buying. If the trend is headed down, we want to be selling. Second thing is we want to look for support, resistance lines, levels that can tell us where there may be a bounce. And then we look for the entry by identifying the highest high of the last three, or the lowest low of the last three, depending upon if it's in an uptrend or downtrend. So let's kind of walk through this briefly and just look, first of all, at the trend. And this is pretty clear that the trend is currently moving up on this time period. But I'm going to put in here just a 40-period simple moving average. And you can see from roughly this point here to where we're at right now, the trend has been moving up. The moving average turned and started to point up here, and really has been moving up all along that level there. So when we see that the market is in a good trend, either to the up or to the downside, we're simply going to look for where the support or the resistance might be sitting. Now, that can be looking at old highs. That can be looking at the moving average, different things like that to help us identify when to be getting in. I'm going to blow this up a little bit more here so we can see an area. I'm going to just take this area here where the trend was moving up and the price action was pulling back towards that area as kind of a support. Now, we can also look, there may have been some support in this area. We have some support possibly in this area. So regardless of exactly where we identify it, we can see that it's pulled back towards support. And now it's just kind of sitting here looking for, whether it's going to continue to pull back further or start to move up again. And so at the close of this candle here, we go back to the highest high of the last three, which in this case is right here, and we look for an opportunity to enter into that. Now, I'm going to put on here just a horizontal line, so that would be a little bit more the highest high of the last three there. So our entry would be gotten into right here. Now our stop loss is going to be somewhere down below the most recent low here. And you can see this ran up. We may have decided that our target was somewhere up here. So we could have gotten out there or closed out a partial position and then adjusted our stops up. Either way, you can see that was a nice move. Now we had another one that didn't work out. I want to show you this because sometimes they don't work out. Here we had it pull back, highest high of the last three right there. You'd have gotten in, and then you would have gotten stopped out of this. The problem with this one is that we just really didn't have as much of a pullback. At this point, we could look for another entry as it moves above the highest high of the last three there. So anyway, take some time to review that. Make sure you've got that down. And if you have questions about it, feel free to let me know. If not, we'll be back tomorrow to take a look at what happens in the market and see if anything looks like it's going to give us some opportunities to trade. So until then, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.